Great edge on there.
This is getting boring. This job severely tested my patience. But what doesn't kill ya makes you stronger. Hold tight. Let's get back under this one. Specifically behind this wheel. Right, so check this out. That ain't good, man. That's no good. I know, I just said. Standard procedure is the wheel bolts off. Look at that tyre, way past it. Safety ting, no widowmakers here. Let's get that wheel off. And the boss is back, of course. Years back on a rolling road day, I noticed a slight wheel wobble. I guess they may have been the start, but who knows?
What we got to get to is within here. I'm going to take the whole lot off, leg, everything. Give us a new coat of paint, new pads, and slap it back together.
Some decade-old cobwebs there. Lasted better than a caliper by the looks of it. Anyway, the first job, that weathered caliper needs to come off. Starting with this little metal clip. I need to get those bolts out. At the rear, 2 bolts secure it to the caliper carrier. All good so far. However, like usual, things want to fight me a bit. The pad's had a real hold on that disc. A bit of to and fro with various tools. Got him moving back and forth. Ooh, well caught, my son. Well caught. Them pads have got a pre-booked meeting with the bin. As there's no weight on the car, I use the screwdriver to wedge up against the caliper carrier to stop the hub turning when I undo the hub nut. Easy.
Bit naughty. Not fully tight.
Strange.
Bottom one.
The bottom one is though.
Look at the gap.
I hope it's just a case of it being loose. But why? Let's get him off. Smashing my hand on the floor in the process. Ouchies. After I got over myself, I withdrew the caliper carrier. Moving on up. Track rod end. Gentle persuasion gets the nut off. But this ain't enough. This little mother trucker has a tapered fit like a ball joint does. Luckily, I got a tool for that. Watch me. Tappity tap. Goggles on, wind it down until... Bosh. Getting on down to the ball joint. It's a similar deal. Undoing the nut. But this time, a different tool is used to drive them apart. It looks like a tuning fork. Check it. Yeah, that's annoying. Right, that hub nut can come fully off, so I can pull the hub out. Carefully tapping a drive shaft through, taking care not to damage the threads on the end of it. It's almost good to go, but there's one last point of contact, the strut mount. Buzz that off, no biggie. Then the whole hub and strut can come off and out.
So it's easier off the car, I've got more space. Next, ABS sensor, let's go.
Now after I wiped my sweaty face down, I took off the ABS sensor. It's too close to where I'm working, so it's worth taking it off before I kill it. The disc can come off too. It ain't actually in that bad shape, you know.
So the plan is to get this off and put some wheel bolts or some bolts through the wheel holes, wheel lug holes, screw them down, and that should push this off, hopefully.
So here goes, hub off, ghetto style. Will it work? Of course it works. All this can be done on a hydraulic press, but I haven't got it here with me. So we find another way and we overcome. Nice. That's the bearing that needs to come out. It looks stubborn from where I'm standing, for real. Damn.
Right, my mate has given me these parts almost like he knew I was going to need it. Well played.
Fresh parts on deck.
Oh yeah, I love coming out when it's sweating out here, coming back to buy parts because I've been sold the wrong ones.
Let's try again. So I was given the wrong drop links. Yep, a pain, as I don't really want to revisit this again. Anyway, parts montage in effect.
So that circlip needs to come out, one on both sides.
Using my circlip pliers, using my circlip pliers, I'm going to remove them. I'll have a word. Back to the shop for some quality German ones that should do the job. Decent enough, as this looks like apart from the Titanic, it was wise to spray some penetrating fluid on it. Then squeeze and yank it out. Same on the backside.
Won't be needing them anymore.
How's this looking?
Okay.
This set I've used once before, and that's why it's so clean. But the plan is to wind out the bearing with the help of that heavy-duty threaded bar. Here it is, the bar and appropriate size spacer. Then you've got to grease up your rod. If you don't, you risk wearing it out. The rod, yeah? Yeah, the rod. The other side is essentially a cup for the bearing to be drawn into. Another spacer, then a washer, and a nut. Gonna need a big socket for that, so let me sort that. Right, back to the shops. This is getting boring. Here we go, we're back.
That's the one. Yes, me have it. Let's get back and do some wrenching. Back home.
Sorted. Now the breaker bar was the only tool for the job. Don't worry. That wasn't my back that snapped. After that initial crack and a few tough turns, it became a walk in the park. Check the ghetto setup. Cranking that, drawing the old bearing up. Let's get that tool off and see where we stand. And there it is, the cause of our wheel wobble. That can join the queue for the bin with the brake pads. It looks a bit grimy, innit? But like the Rock said, it doesn't matter! Why?
So we've actually got a little bit of a problem with this. Check it out.
What now?
Put a straight edge on there. See that gap?
Now it's funny, as the brake pads did wear a little bit oddly. The caliper would have been at an angle. Could this have had something to do with the bearing dying? Unlikely, but maybe. All I know is I can't put it back. What a waste of time that was.
Josh.
So moving forward, I sourced another hub carrier, removed the bearing from that and swapped the damper and spring over. And so we pick up where we left off, cleaning this area as I didn't want the new bearing getting hung up on the corrosion when pushing it back in. And that's the new thing that's got to go in there. Not a problem. It's a similar deal taking the bearing out. Just need to configure the tool to wind the bearing in instead of extracting it. If you watch, it's kind of self-explanatory. Let's flip it over for better access. The first few cranks are important. It's vital the bearing goes in perfectly parallel. Then the rest just follows. It goes in with ease. Off with the tool, but we ain't quite finished with that yet. But it's looking oh so good. New circlips go in. These stop the bearing coming out of the hub carrier. Now you know, I ain't gonna allow that rusty thing to go back on. So with a bit of elbow grease, treatment and some paint, we got it looking a bit fresher. The old hub got the same, and it's time for it to be pressed in. Last time with that tool, and a time lapse shows it drawn in nicely. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. Boss Gal Zosha approves. The spring and the disc cleaned up with a thin layer of galvanising spray to stop it corroding. Loads will say, why paint the disc? It's stupid.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
If you think about it, new discs come like that for that very reason. Once you apply the brakes a few times, the friction will burn it off. So don't get mad, just like, comment and subscribe. You know I rate those that do. Come on. Right, back to the motor. And whilst I'm under there, I may as well address some of the other corrosion. It makes sense whilst nothing's in the way. The CV boot, it's seen better days. It's only a matter of time before it splits, allowing grease to escape everywhere. And we don't want that.
State of this, that's got to get changed as well. And while we're there, may as well do that one too.
But I'm not removing that drive shaft. I sweated enough already. Them clips can come off, simple. Push the boot back and then chop it off. Bin time. Now it's lucky I had a spare old CV joint. You can see here the circlip keeps the joint from coming off the drive shaft. So with the new circlip pliers, this can be expanded, allowing the old CV joint to be pulled off. Simple but effective technology.
Tecnologia!
Let's get it off. A little persuasive tap. I don't want to damage them internals. I'd recommend using a rubber mallet or something. Off it comes. You can see the groove the circlip locks into. So we do the same on the inner CV boot. Chop, chop and gone. Let's get the kettle on, for a brew, but a different kind. Cheers, people. I actually did this to heat the rubber boot up, to make it more pliable. You can see the width of the shaft it needs to go over. A little bit of a force, got it on.
Look at that, no need to take the drive shaft off. Nice little hack. Sweet.
That'll do.
Before I sort that out, may as well get this off, because I can see that being tricky.
Look how tired that looks. And you know what? It felt it when undoing it. Get in the bin queue, bro. Damn.
Now, although that's fine, and this looks a bit scabby, I've got a spare from the box, so I may as well use it. Off with this.
So one bolt secures going through the side with access from underneath. He gone. The other goes directly up. Be gone. Wiggle and a tug, and it's out of there, boy. New versus old.
Right, you can see that's all done. Last thing, we may as well change track rod end. They're not terrible, but as I'm renewing everything else, why not?
Now I like the way these are secured. Undo the pinch bolt, leaving the end to spin freely, I think.
We'll count the turns just so we know ballpark put in next one.
This isn't precise by any means, but it'll be close enough. It will need a lining at a proper shop, which is to be determined because the last one marked up my wheels.
Balls getting tight, so no, that was stupid. I actually just realised it's opposite thread, so clockwise actually undoes it. So we got to 3.5, so we'll go back the other way.
So back we go. It is but a mere mishap. Let's get it off. Come on. That bin queue getting a bit busy now, innit?
Not taking any chances here, so I'll put a bit of copper slip on the threads.
A little smear, and then on with the new. It's kind of strange tightening something anti-clockwise, but you live and you learn. A new pinch bolt gets nipped up to complete that job. Sweet! The fresh Wishbone from the box of spares my mate gave me. Both bolts are done up. And at this point, I was famished, but I ain't stopping. The beat up drop link is replaced. Easier going on than coming off. But I did get a bit ahead of myself, you'll see. That part that bolts to the Wishbone needs to be a certain squishiness. 38 to 39 mil between the top and the bottom. Oh, we bang on. Finally, that CV joint can go back on. But first, fresh boot. Replacing that circlip as you get a fresh one in the packet. Not too tricky at all. Fill the joint with new grease provided. This was done on the inner too, I might add. And then a gentle tap locks that circlip and the CV joint back in place. After that, the clips are crushed to seal the CV boot to the CV joint. Oi oi! Get in there. It feels like that long slog is nearly over. The refreshed hub assembly can be seated, track rod end tightened, top mount buttoned up, and the ball joint reconnected. And that's where I got ahead of myself. I had to undo the drop link to give me some extra wiggle room to get this on. This is a castellated nut. It's called that because it looks like a castle. The ball joint has a hole passing through to allow a split pin to be inserted after the nut is tightened. It's there to prevent the nut coming loose. Clever. On to the next thing. Caliper, carrier, bling bling.
Right, time for a bit of this stuff. Now, on the BMW HAD.
Great success.
You're going to see the vibrant colour that I'm going to paint the Calibra calipers. Hold tight.
You get cleaner, a brush and paint. Wiping it down to remove any grease that would prevent paint from sticking. And the colour of choice? It couldn't be nothing else. Cracking on, building up the coats until it pops. Then I sanded back all contact points. But before getting that back on, I had to get the ABS sensor nestled up in position. The disc goes back on, that's a minor. And I think we're ready. Are we ready? I'm getting excited seeing everything come together. Everything, and I mean everything, was torqued to spec. Caliper sliders re-greased and fresh pads inbound. Oh, meaty. And even though I had the anti-rattle stickers, I still applied some grease, just in case. Then I put them in. I was trying my best to keep everything spotless, but that was hard, trust me. But we got there, in the end. It's the home stretch, guys. Stay with me. This caliper can get back on and be bolted up firmly. Hub nut wound in. And then to try and protect my fresh paint, I'm going to use a cloth. But inevitably, there will need to be some touch-ups. First step, torque to 130 Newton meters. Then completely loosen it. Then it was torque up to 20 Newton meters, followed by 80 degrees of a turn. Lovely job. Split pin in. Just like the back of the ball joint. Oh, I nearly forgot those. And here's the reason for the colour choice. It ties in nicely with the logos on the exterior of the car. Up here for thinking, down there for dancing. Oosh. Another quick montage. Just soak it in. The car should feel as tight as the day it left the factory. And it should also stop with confidence. Exciting times as we're getting closer and closer to that maiden voyage. A few things outstanding to be completed, but you know how we do. One sec. Got to put the wheel on and see if it actually turns. Of course it will.
With the driver's side done, I can crack on with the passenger side. But I'll save you that, yeah? Until the next time.
Bless up.